One of my favorite historical figures was also one of the most famous physicists in the world ever. And his name was Richard Feynman. And he had a way of teaching that I want to share with you today. Because the dirty little secret about it it was the best way he would learn about things as well. It's called the Feynman technique. And we'll talk about that and how to use it in your career as a performer here in this episode of the VO Heroes podcast. I know Richard Feynman's name is spelled Feynman, and so you might think it's pronounced Feynman, but it's actually pronounced Feynman. There are many examples in history of him pronouncing his name, and so we know that to be the case. So once and for all, that's how to pronounce Richard Feynman. He was, without a doubt, one of the most famous physicists in the world. And he was also one of the best teachers in the world. I have a friend who actually attended some of his lectures at Caltech, and he had nothing but amazing things to say about him. He was also somewhat of a jerk, but I think most people would look at how he led his life as a very logical outgrowth of the way he looked at the world. And one of the ways he looked at the world was how to learn things. He was constantly soaking things up. And in our business, in the world of performance, there's always something new to learn. We always have a new technology or a new approach or better skills or a different strategy or a new website or a new piece of tech or a new piece of gear or a new approach to a character or a new approach to auditioning. Thank you, Michael Kostroff. So he had a simple 4-step approach for teaching, and by the way, learning about everything that he found out about in life. He was lucky because he was a college professor, so he had plenty of opportunities to teach. But he looked at those opportunities as ways of strengthening his learning. So let me share this with you. First of all, when you take on a new topic, these 4 things will be very useful. The first one is to write down everything you can, either, with technology in a text or, with a document or whatever, but even on, index cards, you want to write them down. Write down everything you possibly can about the topic that you know and that you gather. So you're taking on a new way of using a microphone or a new microphone and you're learning stuff about it. Immediately go to step number 2 once you've written this stuff down and teach it to somebody. Teach it to somebody. Say things out loud about the product or service or concept or idea or process or strategy or tactic. Tell someone else. I am really fortunate because I get to teach all the time. And so when I find something out, I want to share it with people almost immediately, because what that does is it not only burnishes it for you because you're saying it out loud and you're hearing it. There's nothing quite like hearing something out loud as opposed to just the thoughts rolling around in your brain. But it takes us to number 3, which is as you teach this, whoever you're teaching it to likely will have questions. And so you get to learn things about what it is that other people are concerned about or what prompt them about this object or subject or process or whatever, how to do that better. Things that maybe were obvious to you but might not be obvious to them. So as you teach them, that 3rd step of accepting questions, knowing that you can either answer those questions if you have the information or say, gosh, I don't know, that's a great question, let me go find out. That's the best part, because that deepens your knowledge when you do go and find out about things. And the 4th step is something that people kind of think as an afterthought, but it's really, really important. And that is to simplify what you're doing, not complicate what you're doing. Simplify the use of the microphone. Simplify the process of creating a character so that you can make it easier to teach those people, and there will be either fewer questions or different questions. But those 4 steps, write down everything you know, then teach it to somebody else, take their questions and answer them or use them as research to go find out, and then simplify what you say when you talk about that microphone. Do you have to get into the fact that it's a 45-degree angle on the back axis hypercardioid pattern? Probably not. You could simplify that and say it picks up the sound that's in front of the microphone and rejects the sound that's behind the microphone because of the way it picks up sound. That's the pattern, right? I just find it fascinating, and it's what I try to use every time I teach a new concept about voiceover or a new concept about business marketing or a new concept about anything that I teach to people. I try to get into teaching something about it as soon as possible. It's kind of the dirty little secret about why I do these podcasts, because it's helping me understand. It's helping me learn. Now, my question for you is this something that you're familiar with? Is this something that might be useful for you? Is this something that you may have used in the past but not really put it all together in this particular way? Is there something about this that was an aha moment for you? Ask me questions about the Feynman technique, right? I'd love to know what your thoughts are on this. Richard Feynman was someone who just changed my life in terms of how he would present things. And when I found out that this was his technique, man, it was just a joyous day in my life. And I hope it helps you as well. I'm David H. Lawrence the 17th. I thank you so much for watching and for listening. And I will see you in the next episode of the VO Heroes podcast.